Hello all, my name is Shriraksha. Along with my teammates Tejas SS and Vikram Girish Thunga, I am here to present a seminar on the topic exploring Arduino Uno learning board. Let us start by understanding what exactly is this Arduino Uno learning board. Arduino Uno is an open source microcontroller board that provides an easy to use software and hardware interface for creating interactive electronic projects. The Arduino Uno is a standard board of Arduino. Here, Uno means one in Italian. It was named as Uno to label the first release of Arduino software. It was also the first USB board released by Arduino. It is considered as a powerful board used in various projects. Arduino board was developed by Arduino CC, which is based on the 80 Mega 328P microcontroller, which includes digital and analog pins, PWM, UART, and SPI interfaces. The Arduino software is free and open source and provides an easy to learn programming language based on C++. It is a versatile and affordable tool for anyone interested in learning about electronics and programming. So this is how Arduino Uno board looks like. Let us try to understand each of the components in detail in the further slides. First comes the power USB. The most common and easiest way we can power an Arduino board is by using its onboard USB connector. The USB connector provides a regulated 5-volt line to the power board's electronics. Next is the power, which is called the barrel jack. Some Arduino boards have an onboard barrel jack connector that is used to connect external power supplies. The boards with onboard barrel jack connector, such as Arduino Uno Rev 3, Arduino Uno Wi-Fi Rev 2, Arduino Leonardo, and Arduino Duo. The voltage line from the barrel jack connector is regulated in Arduino boards using their onboard voltage regulator. The voltage regulator on the Arduino Uno learning board is a 5-volt regulator, which means that it regulates the voltage to a stable 5 volt. This is important because the components on the board are designed to operate at this voltage, and if the voltage were to fluctuate too much, it could cause damage to the components. In addition to regulating the voltage supplied to the board, the voltage regulator also protects the board from voltage spikes and other electrical anomalies. This helps us to ensure the longevity of the board and makes it more reliable for use in a wide range of projects. And next is the crystal oscillator. Crystal oscillator is used to generate a stable clock signal for the microcontroller. The crystal oscillator on the Arduino Uno learning board is a 16 MHz crystal, which means that it generates a 16 MHz clock signal. The clock signal generated by the crystal oscillator is used to synchronize the operations of the microcontroller, ensuring that all instructions are executed at the correct time. This is essential for the proper functioning of the board and any projects that are built using it. The next part will be continued by Tejas.
Hi, I'm Tejas. I'm continuing with Arduino Reset. Arduino Reset here is the fifth component. You can reset your Arduino board, in a sense, start your program from the beginning. You can reset the Uno board in two ways. The first one is by using the reset button as shown as a 17th component on the board. Second one is you can connect an external reset button to the Arduino pin labeled reset. And Arduino board has several pins. As mentioned in sixth component, 0.3 volt, which is supply of 3.3 output volt, and 5 volt, which is supply of 5 output volt. Most of the components used with the Arduino board works fine with 3.3 volt and 5 volt. Ground which is the eighth component mentioned. There are several ground pins on the Arduino, any of which can be used to ground your circuit. And win, which is the ninth component here. This pin also can be used to power the Arduino board from an external power source like AC mains power supply. Tenth component here is analog pins. The Arduino Uno board is equipped with 6 analog input pins labeled A0 through A5. These pins are capable of detecting and measuring analog signals from the sensors such as temperature or humidity sensors and then converting them into digital values that can be processed by the microprocessor. And the 11th component is main microcontroller. Each Arduino board has its own microcontroller. You can assume it as the brain of your board. The main IC on the Arduino is slightly different from the board to board. The microcontroller are usually of the ATMEL company. You must know that IC your board has before loading up a new program from the Arduino IDE. This information is available on the top of the IC. For more details about the IC construction and functions, you can refer to the datasheet. And the 12th component is ICSP pin. The ICSP on the Arduino board is typically an AVR, which serves as a small programming header. It contains 6 pins, namely MOSI, MISO, STK, Reset, VCC, and Ground, and is commonly known as SPI. This interface can be thought of as an extension of the output and allows for the output device to be controlled by the master of the SPI bus. Essentially, the output device is slave to the SPI master. The next slide will be continued by Vikram.
Hello, my name is Vikram and I am going to continue with the parts of the Arduino Uno learning board. Next up we have the power LED indicator. So this LED should light up when you plug your Arduino into a power source to indicate that your board is powered up correctly. It serves as a visual cue to indicate that your Arduino board is powered up. This LED will light up when the board is plugged into a power source such as a USB or a power adapter. If this light does not turn on, then there is something wrong with the connection, and then you should troubleshoot the issue by checking the power source, cable and connections. Additionally, make sure that board is receiving the correct voltage and the current from the power source. So this pretty much about the power LED indicator. The next up we have the TX and RX LEDs. What are these? The TX stands for transmit and RX stands for receive. They appear in two places on the Uno board. First, at the pins 0 and 1 to indicate the pins responsible for serial connection. Second, they are present in the LED, which is in the point 13. The uh, the transmit LED flashes with different speed while sending the serial data, and the receiving speed transmit flashes during the receiving process. So the purpose of these LEDs is to provide visual feedback on the status of serial communication. This can be particularly useful when troubleshooting issues with your communication. For example, if you are not seeing any activity on this TX LED when you try to send data, it may indicate a problem with the code or with the connection to the device you are communicating with. Overall, the TX and RX LEDs are powerful tools for monitoring and troubleshooting serial communication on an Arduino board. Next up, we have the digital I/O or input-output. So what is this? The Arduino Uno board has 14 digital I/O pins, of which 6 provide pulse width modulation output. These pins can be configured to work as input digital pins to read logical values, or as digital digital output pins to drive different modules like LEDs, relays, etc. So when configured as input pins, these digital I/O pins can read the logical value of signal connected to them. This can be useful for interfacing with sensors, switches, or other digital devices. Additionally, 6 of the digital I/O pins on the Arduino Uno provide pulse width modulation. What is it? The PWM is a technique used to generate analog signals from digital pins by rapidly toggling the output pin between high and low states at a specific frequency. The pins labeled tilde on the Arduino Uno board can be used to generate PWM signals. You can use the analog write function in the Arduino IDE to set the duty cycle of the PWM signal. So overall, the digital I/O pins on the Arduino Uno board are versatile and can be used for a wide range of projects. Next up, we have the AREF. The AREF pin on an Arduino board is used to provide an external reference voltage for the analog to digital converter. So what it is? It sometimes is used to set the voltage as the upper limit for the analog input pins. However, in some cases, it may be necessary to use a different reference voltage for the ADC. For example, if you are working with sensors that output voltages use the range of the default reference voltage, you may need to use an external reference voltage to ensure accurate reading. In such cases, you can connect an external voltage reference to the AREF pin on an Arduino board and use the analog reference function in the Arduino IDE to set the reference voltage. So there are three options in the analog reference function. The default, this is the default reference voltage which is set to the board's power supply voltage. Internal, this sets the reference voltage to the internal 1.1 volt reference voltage of the board, and external, this sets the reference voltage to the voltage applied to the AREF pin. Next up, on the last in the Arduino board is the reset button. So what is used to? Basically, as the name says, it is used to reset. But reset what? It momentarily will reset the microcontroller on the board, causing it to restart and run the sketch from the beginning. So reset button is useful for several reasons. First, it allows you to quickly stop the current sketch and start over if something goes wrong, or if you need to make changes to the code. This can be useful and helpful if you are working on a complex project that involves multiple sensors or modules and requires a lot of trial and error. Secondly, it's used to put the board into a special programming mode called the bootloader. Though the bootloader is a small piece of code that runs on the board when it is first powered on or reset, and it allows you to upload new sketches to the board without need of an external programmer. Overall, the reset button is a simple but powerful feature of the Arduino Uno learning board that can be used for a variety of purposes, whether you need to reset your sketch, enter the bootloader, or control the behavior of a project. The reset provides a quick and easy way to do so. Thank you.